of God. I am so excited on tonight to be here with my sister. You all know her. We've done this a million times already, but this is the first time that we're bringing it to you once again for 2022. And so I'm so excited tonight.
Me
I'm just
too.
blessed and elated to have her here with me. Actually, this particular um, show is not really me. It's not Kingdom Intercession. It's Spiritual Sister Talk. So we invite you to get in on the conversation. If you want to make a comment, you guys can comment in the chat. You know how we do. We're just here to have a conversation, and we're allowing you the privilege and the opportunity to be a part of that conversation. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to Spiritual Sister Talk with none other than myself, Prophet Talitha, and this is my sister, Apostle Natolki. The apostle of apostles, as I call her. We have some exciting things to share with you on today. There is just so much going on. Is there's so much going on. It's almost one of those things where you just don't know where to start. I invite you to share. Please share on tonight. You guys know I usually don't even say that. But because of what we are going to share with you guys on tonight and let you be a part of, I think it's important that you share the broadcast on tonight because someone really needs to hear what it is that the Lord has expressed upon us to share with you on tonight. So listen, there's so much going on again it's hard to even choose um where to start at. I know we usually sometimes we have a topic of conversation, sometimes we get on here and we don't. Tonight we do, and that is because the Lord impressed upon you to share some amazing things with us on Saturday during our service. For those of you who may not know, that may be watching for the first time, this is not just my sister and my friend, not just my sibling, my co-laborer, but she is also my pastor, my apostle. And so on Saturday, she shared some amazing things with us in regards to Roe versus Wade and all the buzz talk and everything that everyone's saying about it. And your point of view in how you said that we should look at it to where it can be beneficial and helpful to others, I thought was amazing. So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to share that information with those that are watching. And again, if you have a comment, if you want to ask a question, feel free to do so in the chat. I have my little phone right here. I'll be watching. I'll be watching just in case. So yes, an apostle has hers as well. If you happen to be watching from what she's shared, we will definitely be watching. But this is going to be dialogue, but it's going to be a lot more of me asking you questions.
Oh wow, you gonna put me on the spot like that? This is what we doing today.
This is what we're doing today.
Wow. Okay.
Because it was just so amazing what you said. So I felt like we have the perfect platform.
Yeah.
And we're being transparent, right?
Yes.
Okay, because you were with us
Absolutely.
on Saturday, so
Yeah.
I felt like we had the perfect platform, and I told you because we have a person that sits on both sides of the fence. So we have a person who has never had to have an abortion and doesn't know what that feels like. I've been put in a position to make a choice.
Okay.
But I didn't make that choice. So I know what it feels like to be put in that position.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it feels like to actually go through with that.
But see, even to what you're saying, having the dialogue about being put in the position and not actually going through with the procedure is definitely something that needs to be discussed in depth.
Amen. Well, yes. So I do know what it's like to be put in the position to have to choose. and it wasn't an easy choice based on the situations and the circumstances, but I made the choice um, to not go through with it. So, and I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. So it does add to the conversation from that perspective, because it can speak to a person as to why I didn't make that choice.
Exactly. Come on.
And you can speak to why you made it, and why even now, 10 years later, you were sharing with us that if you had it to do all over again,
I wouldn't do it.
And so what we really want to get into tonight is the why. Um, we both, and I remember you saying this, we're both pro-life, but we also understand choice, because God gives us choice. But in that choice, if we explain to people why it's better for you on the other side of the consequences to choose life, if someone explained that to people as to the reason why, versus just saying don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. We talked about all the picketers that stand outside the clinics,
Yes.
and how for a lot of people that is not effective, because you make them feel as if you're browbeating them. To me, there's no compassion behind that, even though you're saying that you're expressing compassion because you're trying to get them to keep their child.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Even when we look at those that are picketers and the graphic images that they show, I'm going to speak for Nataki Kenyatta,
because you were there. Come on.
I was going to go pick up a sibling for service, and they live out in Westland. And near the street where they live, they had all type of people out there with picket signs with just in-depth graphic detail 3D of everything right next to this clinic. For me, even it doesn't matter where, that I can imagine what these women are like having carved into their brain, like snapshots, not carved, but snapshots in their brain, because it was traumatic. So for anybody that is a picketer and you are showing these graphic details of a child, you're not helping these women. It's actually a traumatic view to see. And I'm actually glad that you brought up the picketers, because what I really want to do is go back in that area and purposely spend some time among them and have conversations with them.
Amen.
Because there needs to be a reminder of love that needs to be displayed when you are trying to preserve life. Those pictures are traumatic. They're not encouraging anybody to turn around. What you're doing is instilling fear, as well as the woman is probably feeling some sort of way in the first place. So you're not helping. So if you really want to help and you are a picketer, then put down the graphic images and actually develop a heart of love and compassion, as the prophet has said, because that's what they need. Get some material in your hands that would actually be beneficial for them to consider giving them information to go to an organization that can actually help them. But I say to you that you're not helping and you're not standing for God in this manner. And yes, I did say that. You're not standing for God, so graphically putting out pictures like that.
Yeah. And the word says with loving kindness.
Yeah.
have I drawn thee?
Yeah.
So where is the love in that?
Yeah.
Um, so in what we were discussing was helping the people, helping the women to understand the aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
If we help them understand what that looks like on the other side
Mm-hmm.
after you've had to do that, then we believe that that would encourage more people, more women to say, no, I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do that I cannot do is explain what you explained to us on Saturday about how that made you feel
Mm-hmm.
and how long it took you to get past those feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
Because what we don't realize is that a lot of women and men too
Mm-hmm.
are going through emotional turmoil,
Mm-hmm.
emotional situations and circumstances, and mental instability, and trying to figure out where is this coming from.
Yeah.
And what we don't realize is that sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's possibly coming from the fact that you have had to make the choice to have an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
But if no one ever asks you,
Mm-hmm.
is that someplace that you've had to go?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you've had to experience? You would never attribute what you're going through emotionally
Yeah.
to that situation.
Yeah.
Thus, you would never be able
Mm-hmm.
to get free.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you just take some time to explain to those that are watching
Mm-hmm.
what the aftermath was like for you?
So, um, that was a very difficult process because part of me didn't even want to do it anyway. So there
Mm-hmm.
was some reservation in doing it, and I need to preference this before I go into what the aftermath looked like. You have to really consider why you're doing it. For
Right.
me, it was at the time trying to preserve a relationship, which at the time I did not understand was ultimately the end result or the end of the relationship because of the procedure. Um, the aftermath of that uh, was, as the prophet said, emotionally traumatic for me, uh, mentally traumatic, physically. It sent me into a place where I thought that I could no longer have children anymore. Spiritually, it sent me down a path where I began to feel unworthy. When you get into the emotions of it, how it manifested itself in alcohol, as well as me smoking weed. I found myself trying to drown out um, what I had ultimately followed through with. I had found out that I was 11 weeks. So, like I shared Saturday, I was just almost at the end of my first trimester. It affected me emotionally by me becoming, I'm sorry, promiscuous, because I went into this mindset that I wanted to replace the life that I had just taken. Um, I had missed what I had relinquished. Um, and it left me in a place where I thought God was upset with me. And I'm just talking about me and what it is that I felt. I thought that God was upset with me and he was so mad at me that he did not allow me to have children. And so that was a mental space that became um, harmful only because I went into a depression that would probably explain the alcohol and the weed, out partying all the time. So I did not have, as the scripture says, a sound mind at
Amen.
all. I was just emotionally undone completely. And it took years and years and years. So that happened like in my mid 20s,
Hmm.
and I did not get delivered from feeling the effects until about my 30s. So we're
Mm.
talking about over a decade later.
Wow. So it took you, and I remember you saying that um, you weren't saved at the time. Is
Mm-mm.
that right? Okay. And then you said that when you did uh, develop a relationship with the Lord,
Hmm.
you were in a service,
Yes.
and that wasn't even
No.
what.
Yeah, I was at a women's conference, y'all. I was at a whole women's conference, and oddly enough, one of the topics was about what we're talking about
Hmm.
today. Termination of a pregnancy, if you want to be politically correct, or an abortion.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was a topic that was raised. That wasn't the main point of
Hmm.
the conference, but we discussed it, and I did not get delivered there. I got delivered at a worship event that my spiritual mom was teaching at.
Amen. So, uh, when we talk about choices, and we were saying that what God gives us a choice to make a decision to, um, pretty much you can make any decision to do whatever it is that you want to do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
contrary to what some people say.
Mm-hmm.
He does give us the choice
Mm-hmm.
to make whatever decision that we choose to make. Um, what would you say? Because all I keep hearing is, well, um, some people don't want to be mothers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what about, they have enough children already, or all these thoughts that people keep mentioning in
Mm-hmm.
terms of why people should be allowed to go through with having an abortion. What would you say to a person who's saying, well, everyone's not meant to be a mother? Don't look at me like that. Because I don't look at me like that.
Am I supposed to answer now, or you got
Go
something
right
else you
ahead.
want to
No,
say?
ma'am. You can answer now.
um, I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, why don't you feel as if
Mhm.
you would be a good mother?
Amen.
That's the first question. Identify what the issue is. Are you basing your answer off of something that happened when you were a child? Are you experiencing mother wounds? What is the issue that you're having that would bring you to this point?
So basically, what you're saying is, when faced with having to make this type of decision,
Mm-hmm.
the best recourse would be to sit down and ask yourself, what is the reason? Not that you're making the decision so much, but what's the reason behind the reason
Mm-hmm.
that you are giving
Mm-hmm.
as to why you're making the decision?
Absolutely.
Because I don't think anyone's asking those questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, well, I just, I don't want kids, or,
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 mouths to feed already,
Mm-hmm.
or, I'm not married, or, a plethora of different reasons. And those reasons may, be justified to you. And we're not coming against whatever a person's reason may be.
Mm-hmm.
But all we're saying is, if we had more dialogue
Mhm.
and conversation,
Mhm.
which at the end of the day, based on where things have gone,
Mhm.
people need to be looking for answers.
Mhm.
We need to be looking for solutions. We need to be looking for resolve to why we may feel the way we feel when faced with this situation and what it is that can be done
Yeah.
if this is no longer an option.
Mhm.
Because what I was hearing, some people were saying, well, then people will just go back to what we were doing before,
Yeah.
which was doing things illegally.
Yeah.
And so now you have people once again who are putting their lives in danger
Mhm.
because this is a fearful place for them.
Mhm.
And so we as a people, especially those of us that are Christians, believers,
Mhm.
um, really need to be preparing ourselves
Mhm.
during this time for those who are going to be looking for answers.
Mhm.
They should not feel like they have to go to the clinic
Mhm.
as their first stop
Mhm.
without being able to come to the body of Christ
Mhm.
and sit down and have a conversation
Mhm.
and try to help them through
Mhm.
whatever it is that they're going through
Mhm.
so that they can make an informed decision.
I'm thinking about when you're saying this, my brain is going back to the movie Superman,
Okay.
and it's Zod. Yeah, Zod came to the earth to
Mhm.
actually come and get uh Superman, Kal-El, and uh Kal-El, Superman, actually went to a church to go talk to a priest. Have you seen the movie?
Mm-mm.
And so he went there, right? And he went to go talk to the priest, and he went to inquire how he should feel. Should he, trust the people of the earth,
Mhm.
and just sacrifice himself so that the people of the earth would be safe, or basically what should he do in that situation. And so the priest was asking him some questions and said, well, do you believe in the people of the earth? Do you feel as if we can be trusted? And Khalil was like, well, I don't know. And so he then got up and left. My point to bring that up is that you were talking about going to get counsel, that people should be able to come to us. The priest did not tell Khalil what he should do, but
Come
he
on.
caused him to raise questions in his mind. And
Yes.
before Khalil left out, the priest said, sometimes you have to step out on faith.
Yes. And of course, when you're in a space of unknown,
Mm-hmm.
because it can be a very scary space,
Mm-hmm.
we don't always know what's on the other side, what's going to happen, but we're fearful.
Mm-hmm.
And so because we're fearful, we say, well, this is probably the best thing for me to do because what I see
Mm-hmm.
happening is X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as you just stated, it's faith. It's a faith walk.
Mm-hmm.
It's trusting God to know that, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing right
Mm-hmm.
now. But I'm going to make this decision
Mm-hmm.
trusting that God is going to work it out in my favor.
Yeah.
But that's how it is with all decisions.
Yeah.
Or it should be.
Yeah.
We don't know
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But we trust God to know that, hey, I'm going to do this
Yeah.
because this is really the best recourse, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes in our emotions, we don't feel that that's the best answer, whether it's terminating a pregnancy, whether it's whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
In our flesh, we don't feel that this might be the best recourse, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to take this one.
Yeah.
But we have to learn, and not just with this situation but in every situation,
Yeah.
to just follow the word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I'm following the word, then everything has to work out for my good.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that it may not be a little bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that everything's going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm trusting and following the word,
Mhm.
then it has to work out for me
Yeah.
one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we need people to recognize and realize
Yeah.
that, yeah, it's scary,
Mhm.
but we're walking by faith. We're walking by the word,
Mhm.
not by necessarily how we feel.
And that's for those of us who um, have a relationship with Christ,
Yes.
or seeking to deepen our relationship with Him. Um, the words that are formulating in my mind is for those that don't have a
Mhm.
relationship with Christ, yet they may still have some reservation
Absolutely.
in going through
Hmm.
with the procedure. And so I would say to them, listen, don't dismiss your intuition.
Hmm.
Don't dismiss your gut feeling.
Absolutely.
You know, if there is reservation that you're experiencing, then don't, you
Hmm.
know. Hopefully what you can do is find family members or friends who you can talk to, that can assist you and provide you with the wisdom that's needed to help you, and they would even extend themselves to be there for you and supporting you with your decision to keep the child. Not don't let me be naive and say we can't dismiss those who will choose
Absolutely. Absolutely.
to
Because
go
there
ahead
are
and get
some,
it.
yeah,
Yeah. And so they're going to need support as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's where, when we were talking about, the picketers and the signs, and that's not providing support.
Mm-mm.
um, Whether you choose to terminate or choose not to terminate,
Mhm.
both sides of the fence need support.
Mhm.
And I think that's what, not only us that are watching don't, the people that are going through it, the women that are going through it, but even the women themselves, I don't think they realize that you need support
Yeah.
on either side of the fence.
Yeah.
Whether you decided to keep or whether you decided not to,
Yeah.
you still need support.
Yeah.
And I think in most instances, it's such a thing where we want to keep it private
Yeah.
that no one's talking about it. We're not sharing it with anybody. You have your few who may know,
Mhm.
your best friend or whatever. A lot of times it's young ladies, their parents don't even know.
Mhm.
Um, so you're walking through it alone.
Mhm.
And that's what we want to prevent,
Mhm.
is the space of aloneness,
Mhm.
so that no matter what choice you make, you can know that you still have support.
Mhm.
There's still someone there that you can counsel with, that you can talk with, that can help you get through it, so they
Mhm.
don't have to go through 10 years
Mhm. Mhm.
of struggling with the emotions that they feel
Yeah.
based on their choice.
Yeah.
And for some, you have some that have decided to keep a child
Mhm.
who are still struggling years
Mm.
later with the choice that they made to keep.
Mm. Okay, well, come on and speak to it, girl.
And what's making me say that is I came across a video that someone shared earlier, and it was a young girl. She looked like she might have been a teenager,
Okay.
and I don't know if you've seen it, but she was talking about how the youth feel.
Mm.
Yes, if you haven't seen it, I'll share it
No.
with you. She was talking about how the youth feel based on uh, responses and interactions and emotions that are expressed to them by parents. In a
Mm.
nutshell, that's what she was talking about.
Okay.
And how some of the things that we say to them make them feel unwanted.
Oh, wow.
And that's not our intention,
Yeah.
but that's how they feel.
Mm.
So that's what made me say that, was because I'm saying you have adults who made the choice to keep, and they're still dealing with that now.
Mhm.
So you say things to your children
Yeah.
about how I sacrifice for you and
Mhm.
how I do this for you and how I did that for you and how
Mhm.
I do this and that and that. And what the young lady was saying is that you make us feel as if we're a burden.
Wow. Wow.
And so, yeah. And so it was very interesting to listen to her talk
Yeah.
and talk about how, we talk about those that have terminated and how, it's affecting them and how, that fetus didn't get to live and so on and so forth. But you have those that made a choice to keep
Yeah.
who are still struggling
Yeah.
in their mind about that choice. And you have those children that are still being affected. So my point is, it speaks to the fact that whatever choice you make,
Yeah.
there is help that is needed
Yeah.
to help you deal with that if you've been in a position of not being sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I wasn't sure and I went through with it, I'm affected. If I wasn't sure and I uh, decided to keep it, I'm affected because I still don't even know if I made the right choice in doing that. Because if I felt like I was not a good mother, fit
Mhm.
for a mother,
Mhm.
and now I have children, I'm constantly still going through in my mind that I'm not a good fit.
Yeah.
So this is the expression that my children receive from me,
Yeah.
is that of a mother who doesn't feel that she's fit to be a mother.
Mm.
So this whole conversation is a lot deeper
It is.
than just don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do it because the word says that. It's a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
And that's the root of the conversation that we need to get to, is
Mhm.
how do we just help people be whole
Mhm.
in whatever choice
Mhm.
you choose.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I'm telling you, it was very, to hear that young lady speak was very eye opening.
Yeah.
It was very, very eye opening. In how she said that the children felt based on what we're saying. So where we're uh, beating them down for, or fussing at them
Mhm.
about seeking love elsewhere and all these other things, she said, but you all are pushing us to it.
Because we haven't dealt with our own
Come on,
selves,
come on,
still wrestling with the
come on.
fact that I made this choice. I
Mhm,
already didn't want
mhm,
kids,
mhm,
and now I have you.
mhm.
And yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and so
That's a
then they
lot.
feel as if they're not wanted.
Yeah. So now their life is compromised because even pro
Exactly.
life, because you hear a lot of people talk about, pro life and
Mhm.
just attaching pro life to, those who are speaking against women deciding to get abortions. Well, you have those who say, well, life is life,
Mhm.
So moms, those who did decide to keep your children, that is life, and we applaud you for keeping
Absolutely.
your babies. Thank you. But if you are one that is struggling with your choice,
Mhm.
um, think about what Talitha is saying and get some counsel. Think about going to see, a counselor,
Yeah,
because there's
absolutely.
something within you that needs attention,
Mhm.
and you need to find out what's happening emotionally as well as mentally, so that
Absolutely.
your choice can actually become one of joy and not hardship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we realize that a lot of times, we've talked about this several times, the choices.
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time. Choices. Life
Yeah.
is about choices.
Yeah.
And as parents, our choices and the way that we respond to life plays a big part in how our children respond to life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because what she ended up saying was, you all complain about how we turn out, but you don't want to accept responsibility for the fact that you had a lot to do with that. So I mean, and if we want to be honest parents, that is very true.
Come on.
It is very true.
Mm-hmm.
And to take responsibility for that
Mm-hmm.
simply would mean that I do need to seek counseling.
Mm-hmm.
I do need to listen to my children,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe we all need to go to counseling
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
and talk this thing through.
Yeah.
We talked about another thing that you this segues into us talking about the youth on Saturday when it comes to this,
Oh, yeah.
and being able to share with them the consequences
Yeah.
of um, having premarital sex
Mm-hmm.
and why you shouldn't do it,
Yeah.
and what this is can be a result of that,
Yeah.
and it being a great opportunity to teach them abstinence.
Mm.
Just don't, you know,
Yeah.
just don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's easier said than done
Yeah.
because we all grew up too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
we all came through the teen years and all of that.
Listen.
Yes, but we have to teach it.
Yeah.
We have to talk about it. We have to express the importance behind it and not just don't do it because I said don't do it.
Yeah.
The
Explain the weight of the thing.
conversations
Come on.
have to get deeper than us just telling our children don't do something because I said don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's it they're a lot smarter than we think they are,
Mm-hmm.
a lot sooner than we think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we give them, especially this generation, they don't just want to be told don't do. They want an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wrong of us to not give them the explanation and
Mm-hmm.
just say, well, because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
That's what our parents did to us,
Mm-hmm.
but we're in a different era.
Mm-hmm.
And because I said so doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm. So we need to make sure that we explain ourselves. I'm thinking about a conversation that I was having with a young lady that I was taking to the airport, and somehow we actually got on this topic about talking to our children about sex. And she was saying that the psychologist friend that she has, because the psychologist also has children,
Mm-hmm.
she goes ahead and explains to her children about sex
Mm-hmm.
in its proper form, what it is used for,
Mm-hmm.
the responsibility that one must understand when they decide to engage in sexual relations. And so it was very interesting because, you can talk to whoever, all depending on what generation they're
Mm-hmm.
from, and they'll use the term, the birds and the bees, and
Yes.
all of that, and just try to dance
Talk around it.
around it. And it they need to understand these terms and hear these terms so that they're not attaching um their their sexual organs,
Mm-hmm.
right, with
Mm-hmm.
something that's nasty,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not.
It's not.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's an organ that the Lord created, but I think we as parents need to become more comfortable.
And the reason that this is, for those that are watching, and I didn't say this when we started out, but we're at our ministry. We're taping at our ministry today. Um, Mike said something, and I want to
Mm,
tap on what he said. But the reason that talking about youth and abstinence is important in this conversation
mhm,
is because at the end of the day,
mhm,
having to make this choice is all about responsibility.
mhm,
Being responsible with the organs
mhm.
that the Lord gave us
Yeah,
and using them for the purposes
yeah,
in which He intended.
yeah.
If we teach the importance of that responsibility,
Mhm,
then prayerfully, not as many people, and I keep saying people because we want to make this a woman thing, but this is not just a woman thing,
Yeah.
because she didn't get pregnant by herself.
Right.
So if people, maybe if we have these conversations real and in a real way, then maybe people would grow up to be more responsible
Mm-hmm.
in how they use
Mm-hmm.
sex, because it's just grown conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe people will be more responsible, and people wouldn't find themselves in the position of having to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not talking about those um, occasional situations.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about people who willfully
Yeah.
engaged
Yeah.
and ended up pregnant,
Yeah.
and now you find yourself in a position where you're having to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. Which means we as parents will have to be open to have these conversations and establish a tone within our home, encouraging our children
Mm-hmm.
to come and talk to us so we can have that dialogue. Because how cool would it be? Jesus help me out today, even with my boys coming to me, but saying, "Hey, mom, hey, dad, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, having sex with,
Mm-hmm.
this young lady,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have to be able to have a real conversation, and, whatever that looks like for each child, inquire why,
Absolutely.
well, what if this happens, and not just run out and say, oh, well, my boy, is of age. Let me run out and go get him some condoms. Well, that's not helping him, because sometimes, I'm sorry, the condom break, and then what?
Come on. I just said that to someone else the other day. I said, listen, that doesn't always work.
Yeah,
So you can't, say, well, that's okay. Just no.
just saying.
Nothing is 100% proof.
No.
And that's just reality. That's why it's important to be responsible. Be
Please.
responsible now, people.
What did
At the
Mike
end
say?
of the day, that's what it boils down to, is being responsible. He said, is anyone talking about the male perspective of this
Ooh.
topic?
What's the male
And yeah,
perspective,
that's what I
Mike?
was going to
Like,
say.
type in some
You put
stuff,
something
bro.
in there so that we can share it with the people.
Yeah.
But that's why I was saying this is not just well, the woman. Yes, I know we feel. Now I'm a woman, so don't think I'm trying to say, forget about the woman and your body. And I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying it's not just you as the woman that has to deal with this.
Mhm.
Because if a man has had a part
Mhm.
in a woman having to make the decision to terminate, you can go through just as well,
Yeah.
just as a woman can,
Oh yeah.
in terms of your emotional state, and you feeling like God has prevented you from having children, or just different situations and circumstances in your life occurring based on the fact that you were a part of, your girlfriend or your mate or whoever, having to make you all coming together to choose to make that decision.
Now, can we tap into once before Mike
Yeah, I'm
responds, if
just
he
waiting.
does? Um, what is it to be put in the position of having to contemplate aborting and then not doing it?
Um, it's definitely not a fun place to be in.
Mm.
It's a toss. You're back and forth. You're wavering.
Mhm.
Um, I will tell you, I researched. Um, I went online. I did all kinds of things to get information
Mhm.
before I made a decision on which direction I was going to go. I already knew what my decision was going to be honest.
Okay.
However, because it wasn't a mutual decision at the time, you do think about it.
Yeah.
And I thought about it,
Mhm.
and I researched. You're going to be benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
you know
Mhm.
but it didn't set well with me. it didn't set right in my spirit. And so I was saved at the time because I've been saved since I was a child, but it didn't work for me.
Okay.
And so I did what I felt was the best thing for me to do.
So
at the
how would
time.
you, or what would you say? Not how would you, what would you say to the women who are put in the position where they're going to stick to their guns
Mhm.
and not go through an abortion
Mhm.
that the gentleman would like for them to?
What I would say is stick to your guns. No, seriously, because initially it's not good. It depends on the person that you're dealing with, but initially it's not going to be a fun process, because if you're dealing with a person who just really doesn't want you to, go through with that pregnancy, it's not going to be fun in the relationship. But at the end of the day, what I will tell you is it goes back to what we said a little while ago in the trusting of God and the word and knowing that, hey, I don't even know if I'm making the right decision for my flesh, but I'm making a God decision. And because I knew I was making a God decision, I knew that everything would be fine. And right now, today, everything is fine. So stick to your guns.
Yeah.
And if you have an individual who is not okay and never becomes okay, it's still okay because you've done what you felt in your spirit that God wanted you to do. And he's going to provide and he's going to take care. And if that father does not want to be involved, the Bible says, you dust your feet and you keep it moving because you've done what the father inquired of you to do. So,
Mike did respond to
he
you.
did. Okay.
But I have another question after
Okay.
you read. No, after
Okay.
you read,
Okay.
Mike, because I
He
want
says,
him.
if I engage in relations with a woman and we mutually decide that we will terminate if she gets pregnant and even give her the money and then she chooses to keep it, now as a man, I'm responsible for a child that I didn't want. And now I have to give 18 years of child support for I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
That's
laugh.
real though.
It's
That's
real
real
talk,
though,
though.
Mike. That's real.
For a
That's
child that I
they
didn't
said.
want. And I think I'm laughing because I was having this conversation with my niece and her husband like 2 days ago on my couch. And this is a point that she made. And she's a female, but this was a point that she made. And her and her husband and she's like, forget it, just don't, shouldn't do it. And her husband is like, but what about the people that that can happen?
Yeah.
My take on that is, let's be responsible. That's all I have for you. I'm sorry. Let's be responsible. Because you're saying, what if a man, they decide to do it and then he gives her money and now she says, nope, I'm sorry, I changed my mind, I cannot do it. Now I hope she gives you your money back. But I hope she's gonna give her your money back. But what can you basically, what can you do? It's nothing that you can do. Um, and I guess your point is, what rights do you have in that? Because she's making, which is, I didn't even read your comment, but now I'm reading it, and that's what you're saying, is that she's now making the choice for the male. I get it, but hey, again,
But is she though?
all I have for you, no, she's not, because now see.
See, you about to
You
start.
shouldn't have
So,
opened that box,
Mike, we
because
wish you was. We wish you
now-
were here, sir,
yeah.
or clicking in or something.
because now I'm gonna have to come for you with the Holy Ghost, as Prophet Carlis would say, because where did you send it, honey?
It's in your personal messages. We have our
Oh,
producer
Father.
talking to us.
Yeah,
all
we
at the
do, and
same
he's
time,
saying
y'all.
we
Trying
can
to
bring
get
Mike
online.
But what I'm saying is, I don't have anything for you because you made the choice to lay down. Since we're going to have grown folks conversation now, and you
Mm-hmm.
opened that door, where you made the conscious decision, just like you mutually decided that she was going to go to the clinic, you mutually decided to lay down. So when you mutually decided to lay down, you knew that this was a consequence of your actions. See, it's all about choices and consequences. We want to make choices, but then we want to take the easy way. See, y'all don't get me started. You want to make choices, but then we want to take the easy way out. There is no easy way out in life if you're going to make God decisions. Easy way out is usually something that is not pleasing to God. Let's think about it. Let's review it. I need money. I'm gonna go steal. I wanna have sex, so I'm gonna go lay down. And now she's pregnant. No. When you decided you needed money and you went to steal instead of working for it, that wasn't God's way. Now you got to deal with the consequences of the law because you made the choice to steal. You decided to lay down. Now you have to deal with the consequences of what could happen in that event. And the consequence is you now are a father or a mother.
Now
And
I got
that's
a
real
question.
talk.
Now, do fathers actually have a conversation with their sons about what comes out of their organ, and
They should. If they don't,
what it could do, what power they carry?
well,
Because
that's what we're saying. If everybody would learn to have responsible conversation,
yeah,
then maybe people would be more responsible, and Jane and John wouldn't be at this juncture in life
yeah,
trying to figure things out. Because let's just be honest. If we're honest with ourselves, very rarely
yeah,
is it a husband and wife at the clinic.
yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong? I have a couple of other people in this room besides myself and Apostle. My producers on the air, and I have one of my sisters, Sister Nikki,
I
sitting right
wasn't
here as
ready.
well. Am I wrong? How often? No, I'm saying how often is it a person that's at the clinic
Yeah,
and it's a married couple?
few and far in
It
between.
does, but how often?
It's
I'm
not
not
often.
saying that it never happens, because it can, because there could be a plethora of reasons why you may find yourself there. I'm not talking about those situations. I'm just saying very rarely is it a married couple at that clinic
Mm-hmm.
saying we're going to have to terminate the pregnancy.
Right, right.
So that tells me
Mm-hmm.
that if we were more responsible with where we lay
Yeah,
and who we lay and how we lay,
yeah.
then maybe we wouldn't find ourselves there. And I'm trying to be as compassionate as I can with my words.
Are you though,
I
Prophet?
am. I am. You are gonna have to get me one after this, because I'm trying to be as compassionate as I can, but that's just real talk.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
it really is.
yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
Now, am I saying that I waited, and I've said this before, so I don't mind saying it? Am I saying that I waited till I was married to have sex? Absolutely not, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna sit here and tell you that lie, especially that I'm sitting in the house of the Lord. However, no, I didn't, but I was responsible.
Yeah, yeah.
I was responsible.
And that's the thing, we have to be responsible because there are way too many mistakes. I'm actually thrilled that we're going in this direction. I am, because this is just like the coolest thing, because we can stay on, termination or keeping all
No,
day,
I don't
but
want to stay on that all
it,
day.
it
We hit that. Let's
it's
talk real
like
talk.
let's have a whole
Yeah,
conversation about what sex is
come
and the
on.
type of conversations
Let's get to
that
the
we
root
really
of the
need to
problem.
have.
Let's
Like,
get to the root. And the
come
root is
on.
not, oh, I'm going to the clinic. How did you get there?
Yeah. Y'all
That's the
need to talk.
conversation
Y'all
that
throwing up
needs to be
hearts, but can
had.
y'all like put in some comments though,
That's
for
the
real?
conversation, is the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is not people having to go
Yeah.
to the clinic. The root of the problem is, how did you get there?
How did you get
And
there?
how do we not get there?
Yeah.
If I found myself there,
Yeah.
how do I not get there again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there are some that have found themselves there, but should we have to go there again?
Right. Right.
Choices.
Yeah.
It's choices.
Yeah. Y'all getting whole explanations today. Look.
You're getting choice. It's choices. Praise the Lord. Our producer said this is the best Roe versus Wade topic he's heard all week because I don't want to argue about should you or shouldn't you.
Yeah.
I don't want to argue because I don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in
Right.
or whatever your perspective is about that. That's not what we've come to do.
No.
We want to inform you about how to handle the situation if you find yourself there
Right.
in whatever decision that you choose.
Right.
Because I can't tell you what to do.
Right.
And
I don't
can't
want to tell you what to
no,
do.
and I can't say that you're wrong if you do one way, and I can't tell you, oh, I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is give you Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the word.
Yeah. Cause you to contemplate on your
That's it.
decisions.
Make you think about it. That's all. Make an informed decision. If you're
Yeah.
going to make a decision, make an informed one, and not informed off of social media, not informed off of people standing on a sidewalk with a bunch of signs to scare you to death and give you a nightmare. That's not what we're trying to do.
Mm-mm.
We just need to teach responsibility
That part.
for actions.
Yeah.
Because all actions have consequences,
Yeah.
whether they be good actions or bad actions. There's always a consequence for the things that we do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all about which one do you want to have to deal which one do you want to have to deal
Now
with.
let me also say this though.
Go right ahead.
Now, if if you all decide to keep the beautiful life that's growing on
Yes.
the inside of you, and when they emerge, could you please do me a favor and not not like your child because they
Come
look like
on.
the other one?
Come on. Ooh, you know what? We just doing a whole lot tonight. We are doing a whole lot tonight. A
But I'm
whole
just
lot
saying
tonight.
because we have parents out there, and it doesn't matter if it's a mother or a father. The relationship with the child is strained
Mm-hmm.
because they resemble the parent that is not liked so much. And so what I'm saying though is they're not the individual that you co-parent with. And so give that child an opportunity to enjoy the love that you have for them, because that's exactly what they need. I think every parent is going to have characteristics that one isn't going to like.
Come on.
Um, you know,
Even when you're
even
married.
when you're married,
Like we said,
you
it's like
have,
even when you're
a
married, you're like,
good
man.
relationship, with the co-parent, there's going to be something. But having the children suffer, because of what we're holding in internally,
Yeah.
because of the you despising the other individual of leaving you, and you're dealing with abandonment issues or whatever the situation is, don't make the child suffer.
Amen. No, it's true. But it goes back to the video that we were talking about the young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Our children uh, are being damaged
Yeah.
at our hands.
Yeah.
Not just social media. I think now we want to blame everything and say it's social media, social media, social media, but it's really not. Yes, it plays a huge part in how they respond and how they grow up, but we're not helping
Yeah.
as much as we could
Mm-hmm.
to what's the word I'm looking for? Intercept
Mm-hmm.
what social media is doing
Mm-hmm.
and reel them back in.
Yeah.
That's the part we're missing.
Yeah.
We're just saying social media, and letting them run with it instead of reeling it back in, and saying, "Hey, no, this is what you should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how you should be doing it," and then getting help ourselves when we know we're struggling. If your emotions towards your child are negative or positive.
Lord knows.
You
Yes,
know.
you do.
You know. We the reality is we all know. So we can't say we don't know. You know if you're feeling some kind of way about little Johnny. You know. You may not know why all the time, but you know you feel some kind of way. And that shouldn't be. Because what ends up happening is whether it's when they're 5 or 50, Johnny's going to feel it.
They feel it in the present
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
They feel it.
Yeah.
So it would behoove you as the parent and the leader of the pack to go sit down and speak with the counselor and figure out why you get this emotional feeling that you get in reference to your child. If we want to make better choices and try to keep people from having to go down this road, then we have to train up better people.
Amen.
Amen.
Anybody
Praise
else
the
say
Lord.
anything before we go?
No.
Okay.
We were gonna try to bring Mike on, but we're out of time. But this is a good
Maybe we can do a
good
part two
place
and
to.
get them
I was
on
gonna
here.
say this is a good place to stop, and we can do a part two and get more of the male perspective. Is
That
what
would be
we'll do.
awesome.
Yeah, we'll actually have Mike to come on with us and be sitting right here in between us.
Yes. Yes.
He might
Get
wanna,
ready,
he
sir.
might want to put a helmet on, but but we'll just have him sit right here in between us,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about the male perspective on this subject. It's time to speak up and speak out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Ooh, yes, Jesus.
Real talk, not Christianese, not mumbo jumbo, not what makes us feel good, but real talk according to the word. All right, all right. It's been amazing. We're thank you to all of you that have tuned in, those that may have joined in at the last moment. We talked about Roe versus Wade. Go catch it. We had an amazing conversation. We're going to give you part two. I can't say exactly when, but we're going to give it to you.
Yes, we are. We just had a request.
Maybe next week. We'll see. Maybe we'll give you part two next week. God bless you. Thank you for watching Spiritual Sister Talk. Have an amazing weekend. Have an amazing holiday. Please be safe. Please watch the fireworks. God bless you. We love you, and we will see you next week.